What's going on, everybody? Good weekend for some football, which means we need a game day dip recipe. Today we're going to go with a beer cheese taco dip in the slow cooker. Let's get started. All right, folks. So sometimes recipes just kind of fall into your lap. You're like, oh, you know what? I want to try this. So I have to give credit to Old El Paso. On their social media, they actually posted this pretty much the same recipe. I'm going to add one more thing to it, kind of mix it up just a little bit. But for this taco style beer cheese dip that we're going to use today. So we're going to start with, calls for 12 ounces of cream cheese, which is really like a block and a half. So we're going to go ahead and get that cream cheese ready to go. And we're going to be doing everything in the slow cooker today. Now, I'm going to be honest, this is something you could do outside on your smoker as well. Just put everything in that pan that you're going to use, or maybe it's kind of a cast iron skillet, whatever it might be, and get yourself ready to go there as well. Let things kind of blend together and melt like you would any type of other queso on the smoker. All right, so we'll get that first block of cream cheese here ready to go. Probably should have left it sitting out a little longer. All right, so there's that first block. Second block we'll cut in half. I'll save part of it for later. And then once we get these opened up, I'm going to try my best with a knife here to go ahead and maybe score them a little bit, maybe cut them a little bit so they would cook down a little faster, melt a little faster inside our little smaller crock pot here today as well. So this recipe really does not have a ton of ingredients, as you might see. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take my knife here and cut half of that block off of there. See if I can get it out of here without making a huge mess. And there we go. I'll save the rest of it for later. All right, so we'll get that cream cheese going here. I'm going to get it scored, get it in a crock pot, and then we'll get our next ingredient going. All right, let's go with our next few ingredients. So I always like to shred my own cheddar. So that's what we did here. Got about 3 cups of freshly shredded sharp cheddar cheese. We're going to place in here as well as that next ingredient. And then the next few ingredients, we're going to go with about a half a cup of beer. Now, a lot of times when I do beer cheese, like a beer cheese soup, I would use more of a dark beer, like a brown ale. But because it's more of a Mexican style with that taco seasoning, I'm going to go with more of a pale ale here. You could go with a lager as well. We're looking to get ourselves about a half a cup of beer, which leaves the rest of the can for me. We'll go ahead and pour that in as well. All right, get that in the sink. And then we're going to also throw in about 1/3 of a cup of milk. Grab that back. So we'll go 1/3 a cup of milk here. Pour that in there as well. So those are some of those wet ingredients we're going to use in here. Next, we're going to go with just a little bit. I'm going to use Dijon mustard. You could use a regular mustard if you don't have Dijon at home. It won't make a lot of difference. We're just going to squirt a little bit in there, which will give us about, maybe about a half a tablespoon or so. Get that in there as well. And then we're going to hit with that taco seasoning. What we're doing is we're aiming to get about a full tablespoon of our taco seasoning in here. So I'm going to open this up nice and wide. Try to eyeball it here. Get it out of that container. It's kind of nice to get the container like this versus the pouches sometimes. But now I need it to cooperate with me as well. All right. I think I want a little more of that seasoning. All right. All right, and once we get that taco seasoning in there, so I'm going to add one more ingredient here that was not on the El Paso recipe they posted, but I'm going to use one of theirs again. I'm going to go with some chopped green chilies here. And because we already have a few wet ingredients in here, and these chopped chilies, typically when they're in the can, I know there's some moisture in there, but there's not a ton, so we're not going to worry about draining them off. We're just going to go ahead and place those in there, and then we're good to go. We'll get everything mixed up, and then we're going to turn that crock pot on high. Once we have that crock pot on high, I'm gonna get the rest of that cheese out of there. Definitely want to use that. Once we have that crock pot on high, we're gonna let it go for about anywhere from an hour to about 90 minutes. Looking for everything to melt nice and well. Probably come in about every 15, 20 minutes and mix it with a spoon. But let's go ahead and start getting things ready to go. Okay, friends, everything's in the crock pot. We're gonna crank it up to high, get that lid on there. Let it get nice and warm. We'll start to blend it together a few times. Once again, it'll take probably a little over an hour. And then at that point, if we're ready to serve it, we can turn it down to low. If you got that crock pot with a warming slot, you can hit it to warm as well, so you can serve it. People can just grab it right out of there. All right, we'll come back and check it here in a little bit. All right, it's been about 90 minutes. I have opened the crock pot here and stirred it a few times, but let's take a look. Oh yeah, my friends, there we go. I believe our taco style beer cheese dip is ready to go. Let's get ready to give it a taste test. Okay, it's time to give it a taste test for our beer cheese taco dip. Now, for your taste test or serving this at home or with friends, you could go with a tortilla chip or grab yourself some pretzel bites really well. So tonight we're gonna go with a little tortilla chip as that taste test. And then if I like the dip, we'll make this pretzel bites for everybody else. Woo. Can feel the steam coming out of that crock pot right now. Oh yeah. Take a look, my friends. There we go. All right, so when we started the video, I told you this was a recipe that I saw just thrown out there from Old El Paso. So sometimes when people throw out these generic type recipes using their ingredients, you realize after making it the first time, you need to maybe do a little more with it. So I'm gonna be honest, I can taste the beer in there. The cheese is great, especially with that cream cheese mix. Love that we had it in a slow cooker. Taco seasoning, the amount we put in here, perfect. I personally would add a little more heat, maybe add some more jalapenos, maybe like fresh jalapenos. I know I use that can of those diced jalapenos, but those are not very hot. Add a little more heat, maybe a little bit of chili powder with that taco seasoning. Top it off maybe with some green onions before you serve it. So lots of ways you could do this, maybe just to add a little more heat. Maybe if we started with those 3 cups of shredded cheddar. Now that I had that taste test, I might like do a mixture, cheddar and maybe some pepper jack cheese. I personally want a little more heat, a little more cheese consistency as well, not just the cheddar by itself. But overall, it's not a very bad dip. I would recommend this recipe if you saw it online. Make it for yourself and then build from there like I'm going to do. All right, so we're going to make those pretzel bites and then we're going to enjoy the rest of the dip. Check out everything you need to know on the next slide here at the end of the screen. You're going to see the full recipe that El Paso put out there for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you guys again on Bones and Brews.